Yep. Yeah. We have to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it, but we have to, unfortunately. So the first thing I want to say is it's crazy. It's crazy, right? Except that's not really true. It's not crazy. It's kind of the exact opposite of crazy. It's exactly what you would expect. Now, is it crazy in the sense that, this happened? I would love that it didn't. Yeah, that's true. And is it crazy in the sense that it doesn't fit in your head? It feels like something that should not happen. Feels like something that couldn't have happened. Feels outside of reality. Yeah, that's crazy. But if we're totally honest with ourselves, is it unexpected? Is it outside the bounds of reality? Is it something that we shouldn't have expected? No, unfortunately. Unfortunately not. I can't say more how much I would like this not to have happened. That being said, I'm going to try to paint with, as bright of colors as I possibly can about this event, which is just simply saying this is analogous to Martin Luther King being assassinated. Not for the exact same reasons, not for the exact same political stances, certainly not. But it is indicative of the fact that, the people that are opposing the messaging are losing their power. They're losing their control. They're losing their grasp on the cultural institutions and just the culture in general. And they feel that that is a real direct threat to themselves, their sense of identity, and the only way they can respond is with violence. And certainly, the reason I say this is analogous to Martin Luther King and not any other political, assassinations, of which there have been many, not only in the U.S. but everywhere. The reason I say that is because most of those other assassinations are directly political. They're targeted against figures in governmental positions and who are running for governmental positions. Those types of people. They are unfortunately, they're the at the brunt of that type of violence. When you have somebody like a Charlie Kirk or a Martin Luther King die, they are people that were sort of just intellectual thought leaders. They were people that were mostly just vehicles for the culture. They were, you know, they inhabited our general cultural consensus about how people thought about these things, and therefore they act much more as a symbol than a governor or something like that. And therefore that's why this thing stings and feels different than like when Trump got shot. It feels different than even like a JFK being shot or something like that. It feels as if they are trying to kill the ideology as opposed to the practicalities, the bureaucracy of, we want this specific political action stopped. No. This feels more like we are trying to eradicate your ideology. And that is not good. That's why I'm talking about it. I don't think this channel is really, you know, for this. I don't really think it's true. It's just I don't feel permission to talk about anything else. Later on we'll talk about other stuff for sure. But for right now, for today, unfortunately, I have to talk about it. I have to get it out of my system. And again, the silver lining to this, if you can call it that, is that this is indicative of a real legitimate sea change in the ideas that are shaping the culture in these things. And before this, it was sort of like progressive leftism, that type of stuff is the water you're swimming in, it's the air you're breathing. That is the cultural environment that everyone exists in, and everyone is responding to that. Now, this is not the case. Now this is not the case. I think most people probably did, and when I say most, 51, 60% of people, maybe 70, maybe 80% of people probably agreed with the majority of Charlie Kirk's takes. Not everything, but the general consensus of it was that, yeah, he makes good points. Makes sense. In the same way that, Martin Luther King, when he was killed, his ideas were pretty close to mainstream. Again, not everybody agreed with everything he would say or, would go as far as his ideas were pushing. But they had the general sense of like, yeah, this kind of stuff is unjust. This kind of stuff is wrong. We don't want this. The argument makes sense. I think that's basically where we are with the Charlie Kirk stuff. And, you know, conservative populism in general now is that most people probably agree with that, and they are going to take his death as a symbol that, okay, yeah, we actually need to go further with this. We need to go harder with this. We need to actually really do our best in our own, day-to-day lives to live out these ideals. Because if not, this is the answer. These people that are clearly bad actors, evil, they are going to do everything they can to retain that power, and we don't want it to happen. But again, the fact that they are resorting to this level of violence means that they're doing it because they feel that they are irrelevant. They are becoming it. They're becoming much more so, and they're not really getting out of it. That's a good thing. I'm happy about that. That's a good thing. It's a good thing that, the KKK is no longer a force in American politics. It's a good thing that lunatic lefty progressives are no longer part of the conversation. They're done. They're out. They're over. That's a good thing. That is a good thing. And we can all now start moving towards a place where, yeah, guess what? We do actually all agree. We all are Americans. We might disagree slightly on policy. What are the things we should spend our money on? But we do have these core values in common. And we can recognize that when something horrible like this happens. You can think about, the last time that this happened in my lifetime was 9/11, where there was this large event and it just consumed everyone's attention. It was just like the thing that you had to watch. You didn't even have a choice. You were just, sucked into the television. Your parents, obviously of my age, my parents were just like glued to the television, just couldn't stop watching it, couldn't stop consuming because it felt like something you needed to know about. And now this is what this feels like. It feels like things are different. Now, does this mean that things are going to turn around tomorrow? No. No. Unfortunately, there is probably going to be a degree of, a pendulum swinging back. And certainly, I think it's very likely there will be more political violence, unfortunately. But again, if we're looking at the tides of history, you can look back on Martin Luther King and, his death certainly heralded immediately an age of increased political violence. But we didn't see huge riots after Charlie Kirk. We didn't see huge, unless I'm mistaken, let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. We didn't see an enormous amount of just immediate civil unrest like we did when, these other political figures were assassinated. And maybe in the future we will, but I take the fact that we haven't seen it so far as a good sign, as a good signal that, you know what, this time, this side is going to adhere to, the better angels of our nature, and we are going to regain a sense of real American identity and solidarity in that identity. And that, we actually can say, this guy died to try to bring us back to a place where we can talk about our issues and disagree and not be at each other's throats. And it seems like that was his goal in life. And if he meets it in death, then, more power to him. That's all I'll say for today about this. Thank you very much for your time and attention. Good luck in all your endeavors, for real. And I'll say farewell for now. Yeah. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate we got to go into it. I'm not happy that we do, but it's the way it is. All right. As I've said, we've got a couple videos. Totally, completely, 100% way out of what we were going to do. Today is going to be the only day we're looking into this. I'm going to be totally honest. While I don't want to, belabor the point, I don't want to, try to reorient myself around this, but it does feel like something that, I don't have to talk about it, but it is something that I just don't feel permission to do anything else. If this had been, I'm glad I'm doing it a couple days later. I'm glad that, it happened on the days that I was off. The immediate aftermath is like, more or less finished. Obviously, they're still looking for the guy who did it. I have, high hopes they'll find him quickly and we'll be able to, actually figure out what's going on. Obviously, a lot of the news on this is like, seems pretty obvious why he did it. And, the results from, the other side as to, celebrating about his death certainly seems to support that. I've seen a couple other like weird reports that there might have been some other factors as to why he was killed, but my guess is it is what it looks like. That would certainly make sense, and yeah, I mean it seems to make sense. So that's the position I'm operating out of right now. That being said, I'm going to basically just watch a couple of these videos on the Charlie Kirk stuff, and then we'll be getting into this video, which I probably will get like demonetized or something for this, which is fine. I'm not expecting to make any money on this specific video. I wouldn't be surprised if it just completely kicks me off. But we'll watch this Civilization personal view by Kenneth Clark for the last bit of our time, because I think it actually makes a lot of sense to watch it now. It feels very poignant, feels very timely to rewatch this. But for right now, Asmongold. These people are evil.
Hi guys, it's me again, and today we're going to look at some of the interesting users on, you would never believe it, Blue Sky.
Oh, is that where we're going with this? Okay, strap in. Get your helmets on.
That's right. And I don't know how this keeps happening, but yesterday, after Charlie Kirk was brutally murdered, he was shot in the throat, bled out on stage in front of everybody, including his own family and his children.
Oh God, were they there? I don't know if they were. I've not heard that before. Were they there? That's horrible. I mean, it's horrible if they weren't too, because I mean, he's dead no matter what. But I mean, I didn't think that they were in the audience.
Number of people in the games industry who decided to go on to social media, particularly Blue Sky. A lot of these people, you have to understand that many of these people have already been run off of Twitter because there's a level of discourse and negativity that they can't really deal with. So the only place that they can really exist is on effectively a reservation like Blue Sky, where their opinions are protected and they're allowed to be vitriolic and nobody's allowed to tell them that they're wrong. Well, that's why we're making this video. We're going to be looking at some of the different people that, after the death of Charlie Kirk, decided to, and I'm not really going to be going through, everybody is going to draw the line at a different place. Here's where I draw the line. I personally have a big problem with people that are celebrating him being killed. I don't have a big deal if somebody says I don't like him or I never liked him or something like that, but
Okay. I mean, that's fair. Yeah. The people that are celebrating, and again, this is certainly not, I'm not the only person who's going to make this same statement of sentiment, which is it's not a good look. It's not good for you or other people or the country or, civilization in general for you to be celebrating political violence, because guess what? There's always two sides, at least, in politics. You've got, the current people in power and the opposition. If you're going after one side and you're celebrating, what you view as a victory, guess what? That means the other side can view their death as a victory too. So, I mean, you don't want to put yourself in a position where political violence is celebrated on either side, because if it's celebrated on one side, the other side's going to do it too, and it's not going to be good. Now, granted, I'm think I'm correct in saying most people are not as brainwashed to this kind of tribal level where they're very happy to act like they're actually happy to see someone on the other side die. I think most people, the majority of people, 80-90% of people, who are not like just cooked in terms of Twitter and X and Blue Sky and Reddit and Facebook or whatever, that they can see that this is like, a horrible act, and they feel it in their gut that this is awful. And it's like, oh, so like even if they were to tweet about it, they would feel really bad about it. And they'd be like, that's not who I am. That's not who my parents raised me to be, you know? And I think that's, again, I think that's good. I think it's good that we are still, human, and therefore have that kind of just inbuilt shame if we were to say something so disgusting and disturbing. But there are absolutely a whole bunch of people, not in terms of proportion, like, like let's say 2% of people. That's not a lot of people proportionately, but it is a like large absolute number of people out there that are celebrating that stuff. And I mean, those are the people that you'd go, all right, like you are not capable of living in society. You are you're capable of living in an insanely well-ordered society that is built around the fact that there are, 1 to 2% of people that are just, lunatics, and therefore need to be kind of policed at all times by civilizational guardrails, you know, whether that's, being institutionalized in some degree, or if that's, having really super strict societal uh, guidelines that are not explicit, but they're implicit. They're like, yeah, you just don't do that. And everyone knows you don't do that. And therefore, even the, crazy people, they go, oh, okay, well, I'd like to do that. I'd like to say that, this guy's death is awesome, but I would be ran out of town if I were to say that. So I'm not going to say it.
for the people that are celebrating for him being killed, advocating for future violence, and saying that it's a good thing, I think that's what crosses the line for me, and I think that's what crosses the line for any reasonable, normal person. And so anyway, we're going to go through a number of people, and the first thing I wanted to start out with today is that maybe you guys remember this from the beginning of the year. It was a big content year, I would say that, and people might have forgotten, but there is a person who decided to advocate for killing your local MAGA. This was a Blizzard employee, and I want to say that after the video that I made on him,
I will say the reason that I'm watching this video specifically is I've seen some tweets from Asmon where he was basically saying he's going to make a list of all the people in the games industry that are doing this, And I'm like, you know what? I only have a limited amount of time and money. If I can cross a couple games off my list of things that I'd like to play, like spoiler alert, Ghost of Yotei is going to be one of these things where it's like, oh, okay, one of these people is employed by Sucker Punch. I wasn't super excited about the game before, so if I can just straight up cross that off my list of like, yeah, I'd never have to play that, awesome. I'm happy about that. Um, Developers should be wary of that because I got to be honest, there's a lot of games out there. If you give me a reason why I don't want to play it, I will seize on that reason. And yeah, having someone in your organization working on your game who is like just morally reprehensible is kind of plenty enough reason for me to never pick up your game ever.
And a lot of other people made on him. This person lost their job and effectively has ruined their life. And I want nothing more than for the exact same thing to happen to the people in this video too. So I hope that after you guys see these individuals and you see what they're advocating for, you'll be able to go out and tell their employer, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm not comfortable funding a video game that is employing people that are advocating for the brutal murder of a person in front of their family. And it's absolutely insane, but it's also not surprising. And so anyway, we're going to go through some of these. Obviously, you know, I put out a post about this before. This was yesterday. If you guys want to make a list, and this is something I'll go ahead and just contextualize it all. So there's several game developers that are liking posts that are people mocking Charlie Kirk's assassination. We'll look at pretty much who these people are. We'll start off with this. These are people, Dennis. Let's look at this. And this is also on Blue Sky. I'm 6'5" and Vans, Blue Sky Social, sound effects associate at Bungie. So Bungie, you know, the game that's trying to make Marathon, I guess they were too busy. Well, he's doing sound effects, not visual effects. So maybe he actually has to do his job rather than just copy pasting something off of Twitter. But anyway, you've got somebody like this who's advocating for, and again, people might think that it's not a big deal. Oh, well, these people aren't making these statements themselves. These people aren't really saying anything
we don't care. We don't care. We don't care. At this point, the very reasonable take on this is if you have this level of bad in your bunch, it's going to spoil the whole thing. Okay? If you are employing someone who is this morally reprehensible, who is this, you know, psychotic, who is this sociopathic, who is this evil, that they can look at this thing and not only be upset about it, but celebrate it, actually have like joy in their heart and go, ooh, not only do I feel good about this, I don't even feel guilty about feeling good about it. I'm actually going to celebrate that I feel good about this. I'm going to publicly declare that someone being murdered makes me happy. Yeah, I don't want to support any industry, anything where that person is employed because I'm pretty sure their presence in that company or industry is going to poison that industry and it's going to make it worse for everyone involved. And therefore, yeah, I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want anything to do with it.
It is that extreme. Here's the reason why it's a big problem. The reason why is because it creates an ecosystem and an environment where the actual extremism and the actual radical behavior is feeling comfortable. It feels comfortable in an environment where you have this blasé, passive acceptance of it, and you have people that are just basically complicit with it, but they're not openly saying it. They're just privately doing it, or they're just privately voicing their support as well. And well, I guess in this case, it's not private anymore, is it?
No.
And so anyway, we have a associate producer at Bungie who is liking and promoting tweets that are celebrating the death of a person being shot in the neck in front of their family and bleeding out profusely on the stage in front of millions of people. And so good job, Bungie. Really really good winners you've got here. I can't wait to play Marathon. I thought that my expectations for the game couldn't be lower, but somehow Dennis has managed to fulfill,
All right, let's put Marathon on the list.
Exceed those expectations.
Don't need to pay. Don't need to play that.
I've got another one also. Cool. Kelly, senior producer at Sucker Punch, amateur cosplay armor, D&D enjoyer, source of corgi pics, they and she. Okay, so we have also, and you're going to see this word, this term Sucker Punch a number of times. We're not talking about the action, but we are talking about the company. This is the company that makes the game, or that is making the game Ghosts of Yotai. Ghosts of Yotai, and this is also important to keep in mind, is that the voice actress for the game, for the character itself, has gone multiple times on record making the most deranged, stupid comments like defunding the police. She's just your typical like libtard, insaniac, moron, retard, right? It's not really that complicated, but
I mean, who are you gonna get? I mean, where these game studios are based, you're kind of pulling from a population in which you're going to get nothing but those people.
What it really indicates is that there's a culture in this company,
exactly,
and there's a culture in this environment where this type of radical, violent behavior and language is normalized. You have multiple people at the company that are all saying these things, and we're going to get to the other ones too. This is another person here also that works at the company, and so you can see right here, obviously this is them retweeting or posting something that they did with the game, and then right after that, I hope the shooter's name is Mario, so that Luigi knows his bro got his back. And I've been noticed that Twitter has noticed me from the, I've been told that Twitter has noticed me from across the room. Well, we certainly have. We absolutely have. And I think that these kinds of comments are absolutely disgusting.
I mean, this is the thing. If you were living in a reasonable world, if you were to say something in public that is horribly disgusting and evil and like, you know, like in the 90s, if you were to say something that's like horrifically racist, you would get fired. Because everyone would go, yeah, we don't believe in that. We don't like that. That's not a good thing. And therefore, we don't want you in our company because we know that you are going to drive away the majority of people, because the majority of people do not believe in this. The majority of people are going to look at Charlie Kirk's death and go, this is a horrible, horrible thing. And wait, this video game company is employing someone who says it's awesome. I don't think I'm going to go to that video game company anymore. I don't think I need to do that. Yeah, that's $50 I can keep in my pocket, or whatever it is, you know, $100 I can keep in my pocket. That's good. I'm happy about that. I was, you know, thinking about spending that money on this. I don't have to spend it on this anymore. That's good. So these people do need to get fired. They are going to get fired, I think. I hope. Because again, it is like, you know, you need to be accountable for the things that you're saying. And yeah, I mean, you know, part of that is going to be, yeah, you know, we don't want to employ you. If you're going against the general cultural sentiment that everyone has agreed is a norm and is correct and is moral, then yeah, I mean, you know, if you're going to gleefully spout out your rhetoric, there's going to be consequences. This is going to be one of them.
This is a person that works at a massive game company, and they're openly advocating for on public platforms and promoting and celebrating the murder of a random person. This is disgusting. It's really disgusting. And in my opinion, I don't think that it should be tolerated. And that's the reason why I'm making this video. I think that everybody should try to message anybody that works at this company, anybody who, you know, like any sort of PR, any management, you know, anything like that. Let them know that you don't want to support a company that employs people that celebrate the murder of innocent people just for exchanging ideas. This is a disgust.
So do we like that cancel culture is now on our side? It's now, you know, it's now on Asmon's side. Realistically, the majority of cultural force and forces are behind him and, pushing for the things that he likes. And therefore, this tool that has been created and used primarily by one side, well, now that, the pendulum of power and influence has shifted over the other side, that tool is still up for grabs. Anybody can use it. This is why, as I said in my previous video, you really should not be celebrating this person's death, because if that's okay when, you do it, it's going to be okay when somebody else does it. And it just shouldn't be okay. So I don't like that cancel culture exists. I don't like that, these people are um going to lose their jobs, but I'm also like, you know what? There is a degree of cultural pressure, shame, that is probably good, if not necessary, for the, correct functioning of society, where we go, yeah, like, look, there are implicit rules. There are rules that, they're not mentioned, they're not explicit, we're not told specifically. Yeah, don't celebrate people's death in public. Okay, everybody knows that. And if you're not going to adhere to that, there's probably something like wrong with you. And therefore we probably go, okay, well, I probably don't want to employ you. I probably don't want to do that, because there's probably going to be other stuff wrong with you. If you can't adhere to those like super basic, obvious rules that everyone's aware of, then there's going to be other problems down the line.
Disgusting thing to do. And you can see also, and I think this is a systemic problem at the company itself, whenever you have three people, the voice actress and then these two other people that are also doing this, I think that it's very obvious that this company has been infected with the same kind of moral rot that many other video game companies have unfortunately been affected by. And so you have also Zibs, they, them, always a very good indicator of mental awareness and normality. A producer at Magic the Gathering. So this person works at, I'm assuming, Wizards of the Coast. And they're working at Magic the Gathering Arena. Previously also at... Wow. What are the what are the odds of that? What a coincidence. And
Who is hiring at Sucker Punch?
This is, again, another person who is celebrating this type of violent behavior. And I think that, again, people need to make their voices known and make them heard, that this is just simply not acceptable. This is not normal. This is not what average people want. We don't want to have people that are openly making statements and calls to violence like this, or celebrating calls to violence or actual violence like this, making our products. It's disgusting. And I know that some people would maybe consider and say, well, this is something that could be a little bit like cancel culture. And I want to say that it absolutely is.
Yep. Like I said. Now, granted, here's the thing. It's not new. This idea of cancel culture is like a new phenomenon. It's new in the sense that you can rally an enormous group of people very quickly via social media. That's true. But in the example that I used earlier, if someone said, someone at your local deli was like massively racist, like let's say like in the 90s or 2000s, and they were like, they put up a sign that says, "We don't want black people here." The vast majority of everybody in that community, in that town, in that place would go, "We're not going to patronize a deli that says something so horrible that none of us agree with. And we're just going to stop doing this." And if somebody were to like, if they were to take the sign down, you would tell your friend, you'd be like, "Oh, where are you going?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to go over to, Sam's Deli for the, the sandwich. I like their stuff." And they're like, "You don't know the guy's like super racist?" And I was like, "Yeah," like, he had a sign up there that said, "We don't want black people in here." That's horrible. "Oh my God, really?" And I'm like, "Okay, well, then I'm definitely not going to go. I'll go to Burger King. I'll go somewhere else." It's not new. This has always been the case. And this is kind of how these sort of societal morals are enforced.
100% is. The fact is that these are the same types of people who would lie about you and make up things about you and try to destroy your career and destroy your reputation for disagreeing with them on something political. But now, whenever it's happening to them, they're the victims. Well, if you want to be the victim, it's time to earn it. I think also, here's another thing, is that if you work at one of these companies and you have one of these individuals that works at your company, you do have a recourse to this, and that's calling and talking to HR, because the fact is that HR does not operate in your best interest, and it doesn't operate in their best interest either. It operates in the best interest of the company.
It's
and
supposed
when
to.
you have people that are making public statements and calls to violence and celebrating violence like that, they're creating a hostile and an unsafe work environment. And anybody who works in HR, or anybody who works inside of any sort of corporate environment, will tell you that that's something that just can't exist in a corporate environment. There's a reason why we have levels of decorum, and there are some levels of HR that make sense. And so if you work at one of these companies and you have a person like this doing it, make sure to talk to HR and let them know how uncomfortable you feel that there's a person who's working at your company who might want to advocate to have you killed because you disagree with them. Tell them that it makes you afraid to come into work. Tell them that, you know, you don't know, maybe you're going to file a lawsuit, you feel unsafe at your workplace. And honestly, here's the important thing: you should feel unsafe, because these people would justify violence against anybody.
Yeah. You should definitely feel unsafe. If not for your physical sense, certainly for your career. Yeah. Because if these are the types of people out there that are so deep in the ideology that if you were to say something and that would, fail their current purity test, whatever the goalposts are at that particular moment, they'll happily, when we've seen it happen, go to HR and say, okay, this person made me feel unsafe. This person said something that was really horrible and hurtful, and we think there needs to be some sort of, you're going to get fired. This person is absolutely the person who would get you fired from this job. And therefore, yeah, I mean, you are unsafe in their presence with them being around.
Who disagrees with them. And just because you think you know them doesn't mean they wouldn't do the exact same thing to you. And this is them. This is the game that they're making right here. And you can see that they've made no statement about this. Now, let me ask you a very simple question. If these people made a degrading comment towards the trans community, for example, or towards the black community, for example, do you think Sucker Punch would have immediately fired them and made a statement? I think so, absolutely. But for some reason, these people are protected, and the reason why they're protected is because there's a lot of other ones at the company that feel the exact same way that they do. That's the only logical reason that I have. And I think
it's also the fact that a lot of these companies, in the same way like government and laws and these types of things, they're all downstream of culture. They're all downstream to the degree that there's a delay. The culture shifts and we go, okay, you know what, now 80% of people are like, all right, the trans stuff went a little bit too far. I've got sympathy for people that have like gender dysphoria and these things, but like, yeah, like pushing this stuff this far, policing my speech, and I don't have time for it. I don't feel like dealing with it. I'm not going along with it anymore. That sentiment is the case now. That's the culture. Down the road, a year, 2 years, 3 years down the line, all of that stuff is going to shake out throughout all the other institutions, throughout the corporations. Corporations will be a little bit faster, but in government, bureaucracy, laws, these types of things, it's going to move through there. And then you'll get, the shift, and then you'll have corporate policy, you'll have government policy, you have all of these types of things that reinforce that cultural zeitgeist.
At a certain point, Sony or somebody needs to step in. Whoever owns this company needs to step in and root out this disease before it kills the entire company, because I do think that it will have a tremendously negative effect on the game. And you can see this right here. This is a post that Sony made. I guess it was a couple of days ago about Ghosts of Yotai, and you can see 1,000 comments on this. Your senior dev at Sucker Punch is a violent leftist, etc. And these are more comments here. Never let up the pressure. Never, ever, ever do that. Keep this pressure up until these people lose their jobs. And then after they lose their jobs, then take a break, relax, pat yourself on the back, wait for them to get another one, and then do it again. And that's the only way that you should treat these animals. And that's exactly what they are. You shouldn't view them as people. You shouldn't view them as a person with a political disagreement from you.
This is true. I kind of do feel that this is reasonable. Do you think serial killers are human? Like, for real, legitimately, legitimate question. Do you think serial killers belong to the human species? I don't. I honestly don't think they do. I think that they are lacking intrinsic traits that are key, fundamental to the human condition. Like, if you lack a sense of empathy, of compassion, that is a lack of something that is key to being human. I don't think that I honestly, like, okay, genetically, we would say, they're human, probably, right? Like, maybe we could find the specific gene and we could go, okay, this is the gene that, introduces psychopathy or sociopathy or something like that. This is the thing that changes their brain from a normal human brain with a normal human neurology, normal human traits and functions to something different. And it's not necessarily like a deformity. It's not something that just screwed up. It's like you're like a branch off, and you can't be treated the same as a normal person. You have to be like all of society basically has to change to deal with those types of people, because those types of people are the ones that are going to upset the entire civilizational cart. They're just gonna roll over it, and they don't even care. So, like, do we think that these types of people should be treated with the same level of compassion, charity, generosity that you would give to any other person that has demonstrated the fact that they are also human? And it's like, I don't know. I don't know. You're kind of feeling like, no, probably not at this point.
These are violent animals that are trying to destroy the last good thing that we have, which is the open ideas of political discourse. And they're celebrating murdering people for doing it. And as soon as that starts happening, I don't want to know what's next. And the worst thing is that I already do. And I think you do too. And so anyway, we've got more of these here. His recognition is not enough for me. I hope he tanks the studio. And cowards keep quiet. The studio deserves to go under. I understand why a lot of people at these companies don't speak up, which is why I suggest that if you work at one of these companies, please make sure to go to HR. Go to HR and file these complaints legitimately with them. There are certain legal things that they have to do, and in some cases, these people will pretty much lose their job for sure if enough people are discussing it. And you have also some people make comments like this. It's wild how the woke right, like Asmongold, Grumsner, showing themselves to be what they hate, authoritarian freaks that want to censor and silence anybody they despise. Yeah, I do. I do. I think that anybody who's advocating for killing people over speech like this should be censored. Absolutely. And
well, I mean, so is it authoritarian to say, like, hey, yeah, I'd like you to shut up and lose your job? I don't know if it's authoritarian, because you're not necessarily saying, I mean, I think Asmund is probably saying this, but it's only authoritarian if you're basically saying, hey, look, I want the government to step in and make a law such that, these people can't speak about these things.
This is just normal. Absolutely. I don't. There's this trick.
This is the reaction. This is the reaction to the thing that you provoked. if you were hoping that, people would turn the other cheek and go, yeah, okay, now that, this side is in power, now that, our side is in power, now we're not going to do the same thing to you that you did to us. Okay, maybe you had a little bit of, now that, this guy, Charlie Kirk's get killed over this, you'd go, okay, you know what? We were doing that. We were, just kind of like, dipping our toe into the doing, reciprocity, but now we're going to actually do it. Now we're going to actually do it, and you know what? We don't even care. You can say that we're hypocrite. I don't care. We don't care anymore.
That a lot of people like this like to play, which is they try to use your own language and use your own morality against you. These people don't care about freedom of speech. They don't care about censorship. They don't care about any of that. They're simply trying to weaponize your values and use them against you in order for them to fulfill their own goals. And so every time that they try to make an appeal to your own values, you should ask yourself, do they hold these values? And if the answer is no, then you shouldn't take it seriously, because this person is simply trying to use your values to subvert you and take advantage of you and to push their own agenda and to hurt you. And so never listen to this, never play into this game, never even acknowledge that that there's any validity to it at all. These people don't care about freedom of speech.
That's
the only time
true.
they bring it up is whenever they're trying to co-opt the person who does care about freedom of speech and make that person act against their own best interest. But anyway, we've got also, this is me, as well as put out the call for finding game devs mocking, and there's another one here. This is the voice actor for Diluc in Genshin Impact. I hope they receive the same care that the average American citizen would get in the same situation. Really? So they're just going to fall down and die. Somebody gets shot in the neck like that with their blood spurting out. There's no health care. You're not coming back from that, at least not anytime soon with the medical care that we have now. And so anyway, at least he came out, at least he goes out doing what he loved, being a bigot. Yeah, of course you have more comments like this, more people like this, and shoot police go if it's permanent. Every post you make goes out to the public firehouse, captured by someone somewhere. The delete button doesn't do what you think it does. And so anyway, we have a lot of people obviously that are starting to say stuff, live by something. So she's obviously trying to make a statement of live by the sword, die by the sword. This is what, and I think that this is a very revealing statement, and I think this is going to be the last comment that I'm going to look at here, is that this statement's actually extremely revealing, because what it's saying is that from her perspective, living by the sword is the same as being killed. Speaking out and being able to, express your opinion on certain things should be met with the equivalence of deadly force. And that's really what these people want.
I disagree with you. Okay, I murder you. They're not equivalent, are they?
They want to bully, push, fight, and if it comes down to it, kill you if you disagree with them. And that's why whenever somebody does do something insane like this, all of these people try to do mental gymnastics about why it was somehow justified, normalized, okay, acceptable, or something one way or another. The fact is that live by the debate, die by a gunshot wound in the throat. No, I don't really think that makes a lot of sense, does it? But it doesn't sound as good as these, vapid, Yas Queen comments that people like her make on Blue Sky that have absolutely no pushback because they're on their own protected reservation away from anybody whose opinions could be different than their own. And that's the reason. And also, those are the only people that are still left on the platform. And soon, if with enough effort and enough work, we can have enough of these people removed from our media, and removed from our public discourse, and removed from any sort of positions of power where they can exercise their completely maladjusted, totally deranged viewpoints and worldview. And so anyway, I want to let you know that this is definitely not the only amount of them that there are. I'm sure there's plenty more. And so if you want to express and show any of these other people, and you want to post one of their comments or anything like that, I would recommend anybody to go on over to Roach Ranch. This is a comment right here. Sorry, not comment. Community right here that I made on Twitter. I do not really moderate this at all, and if you guys want to post the different public comments that are being made by these different developers, or these different people that are working in media celebrating this, and collectively we can contact their employers, contact the people that are around them, and have them get fired from their job. And do not for even a second think that this is not fair. It is absolutely fair.
It's clearly fair. No one would debate that this is fair. This is equitable. This is, 1-to-1. This is, the exact same thing you would do if you were in this situation. We know that because you did it. Of course it's fair. The only argument is, like, it's hypocritical. Oh, you said it was bad when it was happening to you. Then you went ahead and did it. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, there's no other way around it. But again, at this point, the hypocrisy, you're like, no, we don't care. No one cares. No one cares. No one in this scenario is going, oh yeah, you know what? You're right. I am being a hypocrite. I'm gonna stop. It's like, no, you've pushed well beyond that of being a stopgap measure. It's not going to at all even like slow people down, calling them hypocrites. It's like you called them way worse stuff, and now those things are basically meaningless because you've diluted the word so much. Why would you think hypocrite would stick? It's not.
These people have been doing it to people like me for the better part of 5 years, and it's time the shoe goes on the other foot. They're disgusting, they're celebrating violence, and there shouldn't be any space for this in any sort of a polite society. But yeah, anyway, crazy things going on over at Sucker Punch Productions. Really, really crazy stuff. With that many weirdos and freaks working at the company, I wonder what this game's going to be like.
Yeah, I mean, how are they going to have time to do anything about the game if this is what's going through your head 24/7? I don't think you're really like locked into this game and this story, this type of stuff. I just don't think you're that interested in it.
I kind of don't want to know, but I kind of do. I think it'll be great content, but for all the wrong reasons. So anyway, guys, that's about all I've got for today. I did promise I would go through all of this, and we've gone through all of this. So thank you all very much. I really appreciate you watching, and feel free to join the Twitter community or to join Reddit or anywhere else. But Twitter community is the best and most uncensored place. Reddit is very censored for a number of reasons that we have to, right? We just have to follow the Reddit rules. Twitter doesn't have those same rules. So if you guys want to talk about this issue more and bring up more people, feel free to go over to the Twitter community and we can mobilize from there. And hopefully we can put everybody together and actually achieve something for a good cause. And don't ever think that this kind of stuff doesn't matter. This kind of stuff has led to a lot of people getting fired, which is the exact reason why I'm doing it. Hopefully it'll happen again. So anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you all as soon as I can. Peace.
All right. I will second all of that. Good luck in all your endeavors. Thank you very much for your time and attention. Farewell for now. All righty. Let me turn my fan on because it's getting hot. There we go. Takes a minute. All right. Still going on with this. Let's see. I think we will kind of split these up because I want to check out it. Author canceled for making fun of Charlie Kirk. Oh no. All right, so let's hear what this Romanian's got to say about this.
Wait, so this is the art style? Jesus.
Ooh.
Holy shit, like what did the artist do to this character? Like initially when I saw it,
Uh-huh.
I thought that it's two brothers. Chat, listen, I'm not gaslighting. This is a woman. This is how the artists at DC Comics
Man, that is a jawline.
know how to draw women. Make absolutely
Good
sure,
Lord.
chat, like listen, make absolutely sure they never try to draw your mother. Or your sister or your daughter or anything like that. Like this is a public announcement.
Oof.
It's a public hazard. Imagine if anyone from DC Comics was to actually try to sketch a woman from your life. Holy shit. I still can't believe. No, dude, is this a female caricature? I mean, it's gotta be, right? Like, it's got the groin of a woman, and I think, like, it's trying to say that it wants to show skin to have, like, some sexuality.
Right.
But then you look at the face.
I mean, that
this is a
yeah.
woman that shaves, chat. Like look at this jawline. Holy shit.
real.
If I had this jawline back when I was in high school,
Mm-hmm.
I would have been the prom king.
Yeah.
I would have had women just flocking me. Like, I would have had so much feminine attention. Like, I wouldn't know how to
God.
get out. I mean, ladies, you're 17, you're under 18. I just can't, you know, and I would run away from them. I have to go to the evangelicals to get, like, one of those purity rings if I had this jawline. Goodness gracious. No, seriously, look at it. It's so weird, right? Like a man face, and then you have,
is
like,
really
feminine
weird.
arms. It's as if, like, two human beings, a man and a woman, were just caught apart, and then the artist like tried to put them back together, and it's like this Frankensteinian monstrosity, I guess. Look, the problem is, like, when you see art like this, you know that it comes from a specific ideology, and you know that the person that draw this is probably a vile individual, which is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And it's also with the Ghost of Tsushima sequel. Same thing, right?
We just
Like, you
looked at that,
see
yeah.
the manly jawline in an artistic environment, in a place that's supposed to sell, right? Like, no one looks at this and says, "Oh yeah, where's my money? I want to buy it," right? And if you do see it, like, despite the fact that you would never buy something like that, it's still being promoted. Then it's probably made by a person that has a very vile ideology, and it tells you more about the company
Right.
and where your money is going than anything else. And so, as it turns out, like, the person
And it also tells you how good the stuff's going to be. You know? Like, you can, like, Dustborn, I literally just saw, like, the picture of it, and I was like, oh, I think this game's woke. And I was like, oh, I think this game's bad. And the thoughts were simultaneous. And I was right on both counts.
that draws this is glorifying the assassination of Charlie Kirk. They said something, like, really vile. They said that they hope the bullet is okay after hitting Charlie. And obviously, like, that infuriated people on Twitter and ended up with them being canceled. Now, here's the thing. I saw a lot of leftists being like, oh, what about my free speech? Where's my free speech warriors? My free speech. This is an individual that is happy that a guy that just wanted to talk got shot.
Yeah.
This is not a person that's, like, believing in free speech or anything, right? Like, this is a person that believes if you say the wrong things, you deserve getting shot. Just so you know what we're talking about. And I also saw, like, another account which was saying, hey, look,
Which is funny because it basically is like saying, hey, you know what? All right. The other side then that is using cancel culture, well, at least they're being, you know, way more judicious with it. They're being way more generous. They're like, yeah. Like, okay, our criteria for when we would deploy this tool against people is massively way out of there. You know, so instead of, like, saying the wrong stuff, it's like, yeah, you basically have to be, like, advocating or celebrating murder, like actual physical harm. It's like, yeah, as opposed to the other side will deploy it when you say something they disagree with it, or it could even be, like, construed that you disagree with them.
right wingers, we can't do cancel culture because then we're not going to be better. We're not going to be better than them. And at what point did right wingers decide, oh, it's about being better? Like, when we're dead and we're in front of Jesus, we're going to tell Jesus, oh, look, I defended free speech, and so I'm actually better than them. They didn't. No, like a lot of right wingers are atheists, like myself. This is not about being better. This is about the fact that many people like myself are tired of being humiliated.
Yeah.
And this is what's happening, right? You have these individuals that took over entertainment. This is how they draw. And they're basically saying that their drawing is moral, and they're upstanding citizens, and if I actually like femininity and big tits, I'm immoral, I'm human garbage, and if I talk about it, I deserve getting shot.
Yeah. Not
Because
exactly
this
the
is part
level
of an
playing
ideology.
field.
This is part of the gender abolition movement.
Mm-hmm.
And this is also like something that Charlie Kirk was talking about, you know, like he was talking about the ideology that's promoting this type of art style, this type of mentality.
Yeah.
And apparently, like, no, like, it's a good thing that people like him stop talking. So I do find it like a personal attack. Now, secondly, these are the individuals that have gone around constantly demanding for trust and safety councils, constantly demanding for censorship, constantly demanding for artists that disagree with them getting fired, constantly demanding that the internet be sanitized. And so, yeah, it's not about being better. It's that right-wingers are tired and sick of getting humiliated constantly, of having weird moral values being pushed on the rest of the public. And now that you have an event, the same people that are advocating for like video games be censored, for DC Comics to be censored, literally the same people are breaking their own rules. And the issue is like this. Look, I am for free speech, all right? Fully on board. The problem is we don't have free speech. If we lived in a society where I could tell you whatever I want, and I would be able to say whatever extremist shit I want, then it's fine if you say your extremist shit. Right? Because at the end of the day, the extremists get to fight with each other, get to have whatever conversation. That's
true.
fine.
Yeah.
But we don't have that. What we have is that one side constantly gets suppressed, and the other side gets to say extremist shit constantly. And so, the other solution is to say, okay, well then everyone benefits from censorship. Everyone gets censored, everyone gets canceled, right? Just like right-wingers have created a culture and are able to be on the internet without saying extremist shit, but so can the other side. This is what it's all about, and this is why I don't care that this person got canceled. I think that this person shouldn't have been hired to begin with.
Yeah.
Not with this level of quality. Like, if you work for DC Comics and you don't know how to draw a female character that's appealing and actually gets people to want to buy your comic, yeah, I'm pretty much sure that you shouldn't be an artist there. That's literally your job. Like, your job is to make characters that sell. Okay? No one wants to buy a t-shirt with this. No one wants to buy a poster with this. It's just like the first glance. Okay? And apparently, like, this is the marketing, right? Like, this is the cover.
And is that the 100? That's the... Let's think. So this is Helena Bertinelli. So this is like OG Huntress. Yeah, she does have like a totally different like vibe and aesthetic.
Absolutely not. And secondly, the very fact that you are behaving in a way that would have gotten a right-wing DC artist fired in 2018,
Which
right? Like
happened.
if he said something like that about George Floyd, he would have been fired, right? So like, why should you be not fired now?
Yeah.
I didn't encourage the firing, by the way. I didn't promote it or anything, but if I see it, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
where we're
Like, why
at.
should I care? Oh, your principles. Yeah, my principles don't exist. When my principles are actually applied in real life and everyone gets to have free speech, then I will say, yeah, fuck it, don't fire this person. Because like back in 2014, before this nonsense came out, and you actually did have free speech, yeah, back then I would have said, it's like, okay, but like this person said this off their working hours, right? Like they didn't say that while they were drawing, they didn't put it in the comic book. Okay, so like what does it have to do with their job? If they're mentally unhinged or unwell, that's fine. You know, there's a lot of mad people that created good works of art. Leave them alone.
Yeah.
You know, fire them based on their art. Like, if this is how they're drawing and you don't like their drawings, fine. But, like, their political opinion is their political opinion. This is how most people thought before we were trained to believe that, no, actually, you need trust and safety. No, actually, you need this and that. And your opinions reflect on your job, right? And so we live in a world where this thing is unacceptable. And these opinions are unacceptable. So the fact that they got fired, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's all very fair. And I mean, it's true. I mean, like that is, you know, the place that we're living in. I don't want to live in that society. I would like to move it away from that. But unfortunately, the sort of the way that stuff works is there has to be, like, there's going to be an era of reciprocity. There's going to be an era where, you know, the people that were victimized, you know, get a little bit of like revenge. It doesn't have to be to the same degree, doesn't have to be the same level, doesn't have to take the same amount of time, but it has to be enough to sort of go, okay, we feel justified in, now allowing for forgiveness and reconciliation and allowing us to move towards an era where, we all have the same rights. We're not going to use these tools and weapons against each other. It's like, no, like, if it's just one side bulldozing the other, and then the other side gets like, okay, now the other side's in power. Okay, well, you can't use those types of things. Well, I mean, maybe we won't use them as much, but not using them at all, using them on us like all the time. Like, it's insanely inhuman to think that, it's not going to happen. It's not to say it's inhumane, it would be more humane, but it's just, not usually what's going to happen. So, all right, and now Metatron. So we heard from a Romanian. Now let's hear from an Italian.
Today's video is a special upload, and it is my statement, my position, my words, my thoughts, my feelings about what happened to fellow content creator, YouTuber, Charlie Kirk, who is a conservative commentator. I think most of you know him. I don't need to introduce him, who was shot at one of these events where they go and talk at university campuses to have discourse and debates with, oftentimes either usually it's with the students or maybe sometimes a selected speaker. The first thing I want to say, of course, is that what happened is horrific. It's horrendous. It is a tragedy. It does not matter whether you agreed with him, you disagreed with him, you agreed with some things but disagreed with others. I'm not even going to mention that about myself. It does not matter, and anyone who's going to come and tell you, yes, but the fact that you're showing sympathy, does that mean it's their problem? I don't care what this type of people think. So what really matters today is to make a strong statement, condemn this violence, this horrible thing that happened to him. He did not deserve that, no matter what. We do not justify evil. We do not defend evil. We do not explain evil. We condemn evil. And this is what we're doing today. Yesterday I was on Twitter most of the day, and I was,
I mean, that's rough, dude. That's rough. That's not good.
want to see my statements, of course there will be a link to my Twitter down below. And one of the things that I was doing was I was refreshing, as I write here, I keep refreshing my page any news on whether or not Charlie made it. As a husband, I cannot even imagine how his wife is feeling right now. This is what was like an unfiltered, of course, statement, and that I made. It was a passionate statement, and I do feel that way too. We are heartbroken, both my wife and I. We watched Charlie, because as I say, I watched all sorts of political commentators, and the idea that he was murdered like that was atrocious. It's atrocious. So I watched the video. I'll be honest with you guys. I watched both videos of his shooting, including the close-up, uncensored. I strongly suggest you to not do it.
Yeah,
because
don't do it.
Horrific.
Yeah.
But I did watch it, and I watched it multiple times.
Oof.
The reason why I did that is because on one hand, I wanted to make sure that this was real. And of course, we were in shock.
Yeah.
Secondly,
So many people thought it was AI. So many people, their first reaction was like, "Oh my god, is that AI?" Because it's. I mean, I haven't seen the whole thing. I saw a little bit of one video, and I was like, "That's enough. I'm good. I got it. Don't need to see it. I got it."
I felt
But everybody just thought it was like fake because it was so crazy.
like I owed him. I mean, his family had to see that. So I watched it to at least a little bit walk with him, even if it's in the minute possible way. I didn't shield myself from the horror. I watched it. It was horrible. I've never seen so much blood ever in my life.
Yeah.
He was just talking. He was still holding the microphone as he fell and his body went limp, still holding the microphone. Before we continue, put away the politics. Put away whatever the heck he may have said and watch this. And let's see if this is going to restore a little bit of humanity onto people. Watch.
Oof. He's gonna. Oof.
Once again, my heart goes to the family. My heart goes to his wife. My heart goes to those children that their dad was taken away. Why? Because he had a different opinion? Is that why? Because someone hated
Seems
him
like
so
it.
much because he dared to have a different opinion? This is a test. Watch that video. with his little girl running towards her dad and hugging him, which she will not be able to do for the rest of her life. Watch that and see if you still think he deserved it, because you didn't have your politics. Because this is what people are, even though there may be
There are a
people that-
lot. I mean, you know, again, proportionally, it's going to be a small number of people in terms of like percentages. But there's definitely a lot of people. A lot of them are on, you know, Blue Sky, who are in TikTok, happily going to go, yeah, no, I still feel, I'm glad that happened. I'm glad that, you know, she's not going to be able to, you know, see your dad anymore because your dad was a bad person. So actually, you know, she's better off. You can tell the rationalization. You can already know what they're going to say. And it's horrible. And it is this thing where you go like, all right, like if we lived in a reasonable society, they would still feel that way because they're like deficient in something that it like makes them human. They're deficient, or they're so, you know, brainwashed that, you know, you couldn't approach them as like a rational being anymore. And you would go, okay, in a good, reasonable society, those people would at the very least feel that and go, okay, but I can't say that. I can't like publicly spout this out. I can't go down to the bar. I can't go down to the pub and say this stuff to like, you know, the whole town, because I'll be ostracized because everyone else is going to go, you're a lunatic. You're an evil person. Are you serious? Like, I can't even, like, even as a joke, you wouldn't say it.
will say, well, we don't know why the shooter did it. Right, but we do
We
know
know.
why people are celebrating it.
We kind of,
You cannot hide that one.
Yeah.
There's no explanation for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you? What are you? This is a mirror. Look yourself at the mirror. Watch this video. After watching this, can you still say, yes, but, right, but he deserved it? Or laugh or smile like some influencers? Again, I'm going to show names and receipts. You'll see me drop
Please
some
do.
names today. I want you to see these names.
Please
I want you
do.
to remember these names.
Very
and
happy.
possibly decide whether or not you want to keep following these people. So this is your test of humanity. Once again, as I said on Twitter, I went on a blocking.
And this is something I mentioned before, but I really do think this is legitimate. Like, there is something that certain people that are like, I don't know, genetically human are missing, that for me takes them out of the running for humanity. They're missing a fundamental piece of the puzzle. And if they don't have it, they can't be judged by the same rules.
Campaign in the sense that every single person under my Twitter who laughs and celebrates his death and says things like, I hope the bullet is all right after touching him. People who are saying this, they're all being blocked. And same on YouTube. If I'm going to go on a hunt for the comments that are saying this, and I will block every single one of them, even if it means going down to 800,000 subs. I will do it. I'll block every single one of them. And before anyone tries to say, well, what about freedom of speech? The same people who, and the people that complain about this are those who are pro-hate speech, by the way. If you say that, this is my platform. This is not a public plaza. Freedom of speech doesn't apply. This is my platform. It would be like someone coming to your house and starting insulting your wife. Are they going to be able to claim freedom of speech? Not in your house. You kick them out, and they can do it in the streets. That's how it works. Freedom of speech has nothing to do with it. This has to do with human decency. We are losing human decency. This is my statement. Do not stay silent. Condemn those who laugh. And at the same time, show support for his family. Speak against what happened. This is the time to side with good against evil. No compromises. We do not justify evil. We do not excuse evil. We only condemn it. No but, nothing. And I know that the usual people who make videos about me are going to call me a grifter because of this, so be it. I embrace it. Embrace the hatred of your enemies and wear it as a medal of honor. This is not the time for silence. This is a time for indignation. Shine a light on all those who are laughing and celebrating and cheering for the death of a man whose only crime was to speak his opinions. If you disagreed with him, sit down and speak. If your points are better, if your rhetoric is better.
And this is something that I mentioned earlier, which is just like, you know, the fact is that, you know, they've abandoned that as a as an avenue proves that, you know, they were wrong and they know it. So the only way they can, you know, retain their, you know, power, their prestige, their position in culture and cultural, you know, politics and these types of things is with violence, which just means, I mean, like, they're irrelevant. They're not part of the conversation anymore. They're done. They're out. They're over.
If your politics are superior, if your perspective is genuine, you'll have no trouble defeating him in a debate. You won't need to blow his brains out. If you think you have the right to do that, then you're evil. Unsubscribe. So now I'm going to show each and every single creator that I am aware of that has been laughing about this. So let's start. So one person that I would like to praise is Vlogging Through History. As you can see, he has gone on a blocking rage as well because of the people that are laughing and celebrating the death of this man. And he's a great guy, Vlogging Through History. And he has made some fantastic statements. He's one of the good guys. One of the bad guys is Dark Viper at OU. Barely known him because of some beef he had with Penguin, I think. He says every positive post about Charlie Kirk is either ignorance of who he was or unbelievable. Every single one of them. Even people who say, I'm so sorry for his wife and children, he didn't deserve to get shot. Really? Is that you, Dark Viper? Good to know.
Yeah,
good to know. Good to know. Who cares? Whatever position he may have had that you think is wrong, it does not justify what happened to him. It just doesn't. It doesn't matter, and it's poor taste to bring it.
And again, if it was so obvious that he was wrong, wouldn't pointing it out be enough? If it was so completely obvious, if, you know, your point was so good and his was so bad, why would you need to resort to violence?
It up. So Dark Viper,
You're done.
bad guy.
You're out.
Endymion, we have our disagreements, but I have to say, he was really honest on this one. He was really good on this one. Good guy. People, of course, now are saying, do Zach next. If you see people like this, immediate block. Yugi, she's a VTuber on Twitter. She's fantastic. She's really good, and she was adorable about this, so do follow her. I'll put a link to her Twitch. And before we continue, I know that there have been people that don't believe or are suspicious and are rejecting some statements by those who generally disagreed with Charlie, but now are calling out the horror that happened. We shouldn't do that. We can't
That's
really
reasonable.
read their heart. We can talk to them and discuss maybe some of the things they said that may have led to this. However, if they are condemning the violence, that's a good thing. Let's focus on the people.
Yeah, it's a good statement. Even if I don't think like I mean, there's definitely people who I don't know. You couldn't tell. You couldn't be sure if their statement is an actual reflection of, you know, what they believe, or if they just know that, you know, it's the right thing to do. It's the right move to make. But you know what? If that is the statement that they're going to make and they know that it's the right thing to do, that at least elevates them above, you know, the rest of these, like, people living in the cesspool.
Who are celebrating. Those are the scum we know for a fact are evil. Those are the ones that need to be focused on. In fact,
That's
it
fair.
is possible that
Very
I will go
fair.
live about this. So if I'm missing anyone you know, please let me know in the comments and I will show them on the live stream. Full lights on. Show them all for what they are. There are a lot of posts that have to do with Sucker Punch Studio, and specifically one of the lead developers of Ghost of Yotei, who are celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. I want to show you. This is what we're talking about.
Yeah, we
making
mentioned him
jokes
earlier.
about the name of the shooter and just reposting disgusting statements. I will join a boycott for this game. Do not buy. People need to be held
I won't.
accountable for this. Yeah, look at these students. Look at this. Look at
Charlie
this
Kirk
gun.
got shot and killed. How do you feel?
Happy. Goodbye.
Wow. Did you see that Charlie Kirk just got shot and killed?
That's good.
See?
Wow, that's
Exactly.
good. That's good that people are getting shot just off of political.
This is what a radical looks like. This is what a brainwashed
They're
extremist
They're
looks
completely
like.
there. They are.
Show them on camera. Show each and every single one of them. They have no
They're done.
decency.
They're out.
Look at this guy. Turn to the shooter and celebrate it. I'll have to double check this one though.
We lost a loving
Holy,
husband
is that
and
for
a
real?
devoted father.
Oh my god.
Okay. I sincerely want to send My best wishes to his family and children. I'm so sorry that this happened to you, and I'm genuinely so sorry that this happened to you, Charlie. I'm sorry, brother in Christ.
Oof.
Enough is enough. No more. I personally think there is also another reason why, as creators, we are hit by this. It's because at the end of the day, when you turn on a camera towards you, there will be haters. Now, the number of those haters is proportional to the type of controversial issues that you decide to address and your size and level of popularity. But when it comes to me, I have made quite a lot of videos that were considered controversial, and I have been called all sorts of things that someone like him was called as well, multiple times. So it does
Probably
make
me
you
too.
think, in a way, and I've seen this happen from several creators. You project yourself into that, and you think, I have a wife, and you think I have a family, and yeah, there are people that hate me just because I have an opinion, and people have been so radicalized these days. And let's just say it, they've been brainwashed. If you call someone a Nazi 24/7 for a whole year, this is what you want. You're heating, you're turning up the heat. So it's your rhetoric that is causing this, not his rhetoric. His rhetoric was his belief, and you can just say, I disagree with it. And the idea that he had kids, this is what really broke me. I'm just going to be honest with you. The thought of his children and his wife, which came to my mind 50 seconds after I watched the videos, was worse than seeing the blood pour out of his neck.
Oof.
That was worse. That's what really got me at a human level. It really did. Here's another one. Here's another one that I used to watch many years ago. Thunderfoot. He decided that this was the time to make fun and mock Christians.
Yeah.
He thought that this was the right time to be like, why are you angry? If you're a true Christian, he's in heaven now. Right, I can still be angry and upset for his family and the difficult cross that they have to bear. Not to mention, at a human level, the idea that a 31-year-old had to die. And look, he's reposting stuff that is mocking. He's disgusting. Thunderfoot, you're disgusting. You're disgusting. Shame on you. Don't even get me started on Blue Sky. I love how Blue Sky was where all went because they thought X was too vile. And now it's a
That's impressive.
cesspit of laughs, and it's okay. Maybe that tells you that, everything, it's social media there is no way. It's either you disconnect or you will find this everywhere. And in fact, I'm expecting now Blue Sky to censor everything, right? Because that's what they do. That's why people went to Blue Sky, so that this stuff gets censored, because they don't like that X doesn't censor anything, mostly. It does censor some things, but not at the same level.
Yeah.
So here we are. Blue Sky, more like Black Swamp. And of course there is Reddit. Reddit is the amount of laughs and celebration and justification. Well, of course, weren't you expecting that? I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah, we were
Because you know me, I
expecting
just tell it how it is. Reddit is a playable demo of what the circles of hell are going to look like. Feel free. Do your alpha testing. That's where you're all going. Be my guest.
Yeah.
Feel free. Do your alpha testing. Do your beta. That's where you're all going anyways. Make yourself comfortable. And don't forget, this is a quick video that I put together, and I only had a little bit of time. Tell me in the comments, give me names, tell me YouTubers, TikTokers, Instagram people, celebrities, whatever the hell. Tell me their names, and I will go and look for the videos, will expose them. I will plaster my Twitter with their faces. I'm counting on you. One last thing I want to say is this.
All right.
Silence speaks louder than words in this situation. I'm not saying that every YouTuber needs to talk about this. People that do complete...
And again, I mean, I can't say that my motivations were like this. My motivations were, so high-minded, where I was like, you know what? I'm going to at least do one stream on Charlie Kirk because, we need to speak out about it and that kind of stuff. I literally just felt like I didn't have permission to not mention it because it's such a big deal. It's such a, again, it's just such a pivotal moment. It didn't feel right to try to continue on normally. And I mean, I guess, there's got to be some people where you would go like, yeah, like the stuff that they're putting out is so antithetical to like this kind of super heavy events that they can't do it. But even there, it kind of would feel weird. But I mean, that's kind of that's again, like that's a lot of what happened after like 9/11. People were like, it feels weird to like watch Saturday Night Live or something like that. And like this was back when Saturday Night Live was funny. It feels weird to try to do that. But it's like, eventually you have to get back to that. But for right now, we're not in that place yet, unfortunately. This is the spot where it is like there's a moment of silence.
Completely different type of content. I mean, it's not their content. They can maybe make a post on Facebook if they feel like it, but they don't have to make a video about it. But people who usually talk about this stuff, the news, whatever happens, people, their entire research is scroll through Twitter and make posts about it. Now I'm expecting it.
Yeah.
Because if they don't, you know what it means? They don't even need to get political, by the way. They just need to say, this is horrible, I'm against violence, political violence like this is wrong. That's all they need to do. If they don't do that, and this is the one thing they don't talk about, then you know what that means. It means that they're cowards. And they are afraid of upsetting who? They're afraid of upsetting people that disagree.
The people that will kill people that disagree with them.
No, they're upset because there are people who disagreed with Charlie and still made videos to say this is horrible. So they are pandering to the scum. They're pandering and worrying about the most delusional, disgusting, diabolical, demonic people that are the ones laughing and making TikToks with big smiles and saying, I'm glad he's dead. Those are the people that they care about. So, there will be plenty of unsubscribe from me in the next 3 days. I give them 3 days. If they don't talk about this, I'll begin the unsubscribe and never watch ever again. Once again, it's a matter of decency.
Yeah, kind of have to agree with that. Really do. All right, who else we got over here? Guess who's concerned over Asmongold dangerous rhetoric? I wonder, who could it be?
Practice genuine terrorism on a daily.
Dude, he's such a pussy. Just say you want me to be fucking killed, okay? What is this? What is this wishy-washy like, oh, the left gets to do terrorism, and the left is defended for doing terrorism, and they should actually experience the violence themselves. That's what he's trying to say.
And then,
Like, first of all,
No.
I gotta point out that it doesn't seem as if Hassan has the intellectual capacity to actually understand what Asmongold is saying.
True.
He is not saying that the left can do terrorism. He is basically saying that in terms of service on social media and in
It's not
society
applied.
in general,
It's just, it's not applied equally.
it doesn't apply evenly.
Yeah.
Like, you can have people like Hassan, which brings actual terrorists on stream, which tweets the gun meme, and his probably favorite words used to be in Minecraft. And I'm saying used to be because, like, recently he doesn't even have to add them in.
Right.
And so this is what Asmongold is saying, like, we should stop tolerating that. And in a way, I agree, because, like, we're in a system, and I will have to repeat this just so more people can hear it, but we're in a system where the left gets to say and demand the most outrageous, extremist, batshit insane things, to the point where even the mainstream media has to stop using the word stochastic terrorism, because otherwise it makes the left look bad.
Right.
And on the right, the moment you say anything, like you make the joke during BLM, you lost your job, you lost your bank, all that shit.
Yep.
So the right is tired of being humiliated. If one side can say whatever they want and the other side has to keep quiet, like, this is not sustainable. So, like, what the right is saying, either both get to say whatever they want, and you know, like Hassan, he's saying that he wants to kill me, okay, you know, in a world with free speech, he should be able to say that, and Hassan should be able to say that back. You know?
Yep.
But we don't live in that world. And so
That's
if
fair.
we don't live in that world, everyone should benefit from censorship and trust and safety. This is what Asmongold is saying. And this is also
That
why
is what
I'm
he's saying.
sick and tired of moral busybodies online in 2025. A lot of people misunderstand what I'm saying. They think like I'm against morality or some shit. No, but like how many times do I need to see this crap? Like how many times do I constantly need to see it again and again and again until people also get sick of it? And what I mean by this is usually when you hear someone talk about morality, which is basically what Hassan is doing right now.
Yeah.
He's basically like saying, oh, Asmongold is immoral for saying these things.
Yeah.
When someone talks about morality and they say drinking is bad, you know, it's immoral to be a drunk, most people assume that this is someone giving you advice, right? Like this is someone that lives a life and he knows better, right? Like he knows that drinking is bad and he wants you
Yeah.
to also stop drinking so you can
I think that's fair.
live the good life as well. But like, how many times do I need to see that the people saying that are absolute drunkards? Like, in this
Yeah.
example, you have Hassan Piker complaining about stuff that Asmongold is saying when he was doxing people live.
Yep.
When he had actual terrorists on his stream. When there's a game that's called Twitch Streamer or Terrorist, and you get a quote, and you have to decide, is it a terrorist or is it a streamer? And the way to play that game, the new meta, is
Yeah.
if it sounds like something that a politician would say, it's probably from Bin Laden.
Right.
But if it's like the most unhinged, extremist, crazy, batshit insane take, it's probably from Hassan Piker, a Twitch streamer. Mm-hmm. And so, like, if you don't know anything
true?
about Hassan,
Is that true?
he looks
Yeah,
like
it's
a
true.
moral person, you know, advocating for calm and advocating for civility.
Mm.
But then when you know things about him, it's like literally everything he is complaining about Asmongold, he already did. Dial to 11.
Yeah.
And this is why I can't stand moral busybodies. They're all the same, on the internet at least. In
Mm-hmm.
2025, every single one. I haven't seen a single person complaining about a moral issue that's a content creator. And it's not like they did it once or twice. It's that it's a way of life for them.
Mm-hmm.
And like, how many do I need to see until I start being disgusted and always assume that when you see a moral busybody online, that they're probably complaining about shit that they do on a daily basis?
Yeah.
Will congratulate each other about how moral and how good they are for doing it because something bad that happened in Palestine or something bad that Donald Trump did 3 years ago. This is just
Twitch partner streamer, by the way.
simply a response. This is what's going to happen.
Let's play a game. Let's make a new game. Every time Asmongold has violated something from Twitch partnership or said something that reflects poorly on Twitch partnerships, you know, you give me 1 point. Hassan gets 1 point. And every time I point out something that Hassan did, which violates Twitch's rules or makes Twitch look bad, I get 1 point. And we get to play it. Who do you think runs out of points first?
Yeah.
'Cause I have a feeling that I can keep going for at least a week, like an entire week, day and night. I can fill
Probably.
up an entire ledger just pointing out like the countless times that Hassan did something or said something which makes Twitch looks bad or violates the TOS. I don't think it can go up for more than a couple of hours with what Asmongold did. And most of the stuff that
Yeah.
Asmongold did is pure milk toast.
Yep.
You know, he never got into Fox News. He never got into the New York Times with his takes. Unlike Hassan.
That's fair.
Happen. And so, and I think that that's probably what it's going to take for these left-wing people to realize what a bad idea what they've been doing is. Because until it starts happening to them, until they start having people that are their friends or, you know, their, you know, like icons that they look up to, the same way people look up to
Dude, this is so fucking stupid, okay? This person is more my contemporary on the opposing side than fucking this rat is. I was supposed to debate him 2 weeks from now. What the fuck are you talking about? I've known this.
I think like people from the left don't really understand statistics and margins and anything like that. Like they
That's
view
true.
everything as a personal attack, as if they're women. What Asmongold is saying, he's not referring to Hassan Piker. Like Hassan Piker just inserted himself in the
did.
conversation for no reason
Yeah.
whatsoever. But like what Asmongold is saying is like, look, if society treats people differently, then there is no incentive for the people that are treated positively to stop bad behaviors. Anyone that has 2 kids in their
And then when that, changes, if that changes, the people that were treated negatively, they have no desire to continue the same behavior.
household understands this. Like, this is so common sense. It's ingrained in basic bitch humanity. If you have two brothers, and whenever one brother bullies the other, you do nothing. But whenever the other brother responds or bullies back, you punish them. You're going to create a monster. Like, everyone knows this, right? It's not mysterious or anything. And
not
so
shocking.
if you look at recent things in society, like the reason you even have like the two-tier Keir protests in the UK are based on the same shit. Like there has been a decade where the establishment has constantly decided that these groups of people are elevated, and if they do something wrong, it's a slap on the wrist, or we pretend we don't see it. These other groups of people, they get the law.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to talk about Hassan Piker, you
Is
can
that true?
talk about Twitch.
Yeah, that's true.
And how Hassan Piker can do anything, say anything, and nothing happens to him, while other people get the terms of service.
Yep.
So this is what we're talking about. And this is what Asmongold is saying, right?
Yeah, it's not applied.
You're going to end up eventually with people doing targeted assassinations because, like, they know that there's going to be cheers. They probably know they're going to go to prison, but like they know that their base is going to applaud that.
Right.
That they're going to be celebrated. That it's going to be viewed as if they did something good. This is not how normal people think, right? Like there is a reason why it used to be that whenever you had like a mass shooter or something like that, the police wouldn't give their names specifically to deprive them of the idea that they're being celebrated.
Yep.
And this is
I feel like we have gotten
happening
away
here,
from
right?
that.
Like I go on Reddit, I go on Twitch, I go on Blue Sky, and I see that assassin being celebrated and elevated, and people are cheering, right? So like what Asmongold is saying is that until it happens to them, they won't fucking get it. Like,
And they're
until you
pushing
have
towards it.
equal treatment, and both groups of people living under the same state are treated exactly the same, they won't get it. And Hassan is upset. Right? Why is Hassan upset about this? He should be upset about the fact that the guy was murdered. And right, again, like, no one is blaming him for this. And he's saying, well, I was going to talk with the guy. I'm sure you were, like, I'm sure when it comes to, like, Charlie Kirk in person, probably didn't have any beef with him.
Probably
but I
not.
have seen, like, extremely edgy tweets from Hassan about American politicians.
Oh,
like, what
yeah.
if Don Kreshoff, for instance, would have died? Would
Rand Paul.
Hassan feel the same? I generally don't know. Because I do know, like, Dan Kreshoff actually did get negative tweets from Hassan. And this is the interesting part, right? Like, the very existence of terms of service.
And who was the other one? I want to say it was Rand Paul. But it was like at least one other politician that was like, essentially like actually threatened with like stuff from Hassan.
Exists because the left wanted it. Like, the first nation on planet Earth that wanted terms of service was the United Kingdom. And they used it with feminism. Like, they pushed feminism hard. And then they said, oh, the internet is not safe for women and girls. We need to make it safe. And so that's when they pushed for trusted safety, right? Like, they wanted censorship. And literally the whole shtick was that if you have a big platform, you have a responsibility. Because if you say bad things, like if you talk against immigration and then a border security guard beats up an immigrant or a hate crime happens for an immigrant, well, you're just as guilty. In fact, you're probably even more guilty than the actual person that did it because you have a platform. And I see Hassan Piker constantly not caring about that. Got a big platform. Ends up in Fox News, ends up in all these mainstream media outlets because he's threatening politicians, making Minecraft jokes, all these other things. And then he goes around and complains about Asmongold, really? And
What did you expect?
Like, this is the whole shtick, right? Like, if you didn't know this about Hassan, it may seem like, well, he's just an honorable guy that just wanted to debate Charlie Kirk. And he never would do something like that. Doesn't understand why Asmongold is talking about this, because now he feels that he is in danger. But, I mean, that's interesting, isn't it? What can I say? No, I don't think that Asmongold has put a hit on you, Hassan.
No, I don't
do
think
think
so.
like you may have a little bit of a guilty conscience.
That's
I do
interesting.
think like there has been extremist stuff said on your show.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you're thinking, I might be getting a little bit of my comeuppance soon. Hopefully not, the same level that Charlie Kirk did, but yeah.
You feel guilty about that, you know, because like it's a different thing when you know the guy. Like I don't think he knows Dan Kleshaw, so like that's why he says all the thing. I do believe that it's possible Hassan is actually rattled about the death of Charlie Kirk, because he was actually supposed to do a stream with him, right? Like, in a couple of weeks, they were supposed to have a debate. So when you see that you talked with the person, you talk with the guy, and then you see him dead, and you're a streamer, even though you're on the opposite end, right? Like you're a leftist and they're a right winger, and you see that they got shot. I guess that rattles him.
Probably.
It's possible, right? But I don't think like it's Asmongold's fault. I generally don't. Let me know what you guys think, though.
Then we got what? One more from Rev.
Hey, what's up, guys? Riff here. So today we're looking at the fallout on social media from the Charlie Kirk situation. What we're seeing on social media.
I gotta be honest. I think this is not actually as meaningless as I was initially thinking it would be. Going through these videos, just sort of like, I don't even know how to describe it. Just like wallowing in this stuff, because I'm seeing a lot of stuff from like social media where I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I don't need to worry about these people ever again. I don't need to think about them. I don't need to look at their opinions ever. I don't need to give them any credence. I don't need to ever hear anything they ever have to say about anything ever, because they have basically, decided to publicize the fact that they are not human. They do not, therefore, require the same degree of like, charity, of like generosity. Like, okay, well, maybe, you know what? I disagree with everything else you've ever said, but I'll give you a little bit of credence. I'll give you a little bit of like, you know what? You might have, maybe today you've got an opinion that I should hear, and you might have a good point somewhere. These, like, a lot of these new people, nope. You're good. You're like, okay, cool. That frees up a lot of mental space.
In terms of reactions to what happened in that horrific situation it'll make you lose your faith in humanity. So for those who don't know, Charlie Kirk was a very popular conservative who would go to college campuses and debate basically anyone who was willing to approach the microphone. And in his most recent event, he was assassinated. And I reacted to it yesterday. I was actually getting ready to record a prepared video I had for that day, but I refreshed my Twitter page and I immediately saw a video of the bullet going through his neck. And yeah, I couldn't do it yesterday. I could not make a regular video. And I'm sorry if I was a little bit emotional, but it was a really crazy thing to see. And the reaction on social media, maybe I should have expected it, but it's already gruesome enough. This guy, 31 years old, with his 2 daughters and wife in attendance at this event, by the way, was
horrible.
gunned down. And to make things worse, the social media reaction has been so disturbing. It's so disturbing, and everyone doing this stuff, praising the violence, deserves to be called out. We're talking game developers, VTubers, content creators, social media users in general. They are all celebrating this man's demise, and it is absolutely disgusting. Just look at Twitter. Let's go through the social media platforms. 417,000 likes on this tweet saying me liking every tweet making fun of Charlie Kirk. This is a cold and harsh reminder that these people, they don't want to debate you. They don't want to challenge the beliefs they disagree with. They don't want to coexist with you. They want you dead. And they will laugh at you when it happens. It is a very tough pill to swallow, but that is the current situation. I've been talking for years about stuff like this, where political violence and calls to violence in general have been so normalized that it's going to eventually have a real life impact. And we're seeing it happen, and people are gloating about it. They're gloating about it.
They are. It's true. It's not
Here's
good.
some furry
Oof,
with a trans flag celebrating by getting a meal.
Yeah. Adorable. People are fun.
I've said this before, but people like this, there is no transphobe in the world that could do more damage to your movement than you. Here's some freak.
That's true.
Saying Charlie Kirk got shot, but honestly, Denji been through so much more. The hardships he's faced aren't even comparable to getting shot dead. Until Charlie has done what Denji has done, I don't feel sympathy. This person is comparing a real man to a fictional character. And
I was gonna say, who's Denji?
For dying, for being assassinated. Here's this guy saying, I 100% condemn this and hope he's okay. Well, unfortunately, this is the same guy who, by the way, said he's going to put estrogen in the candies of trick-or-treat baskets of children who look like their parents are Trump supporters. In this famously deleted tweet, also said, isn't Charlie Kirk just the biggest piece of stuff alive? And also, as pointed out here, he said there is a certain thing that should happen. Very non-vaguely referring to political violence. And here's another one. Where he says, yeah, these types of debates are already basically bad.
But this is the other side of this. I will have to say, at the very least, this person does have some degree of shame. They do have some, this is a person where you'd go, okay, bad person, but not irredeemable. This is a person where you could go, okay, you at the very least, to be ashamed of the things that you said when they've clearly come back to bite you in the ass. At the very, this is like Gavin Newsom? I don't think Gavin Newsom cares about anything or anyone other than himself. But at the very least, he's trainable. He's teachable. So he goes out and he's, is able to say, oh, this is horrible and I condemn it. And I'm like, okay, that's probably you just being a good politician. But at the very least, we can say you're better than these other people that are, saying these bad, horrible things and then also doubling down on it at this point. You go, no. You've at the very least proven you're better than them. You have a potential place in society. Okay. I don't necessarily want you running stuff, but at the very least, you can be a non-destructive, if not, productive member of society.
We shouldn't prove anything to these chuds. Just knock them over and pass legislation. Charlie Kirk is not a good faith actor. Yeah, thanks for your contribution, dude. Your words mean nothing. You're a hypocrite, you're a weirdo, you're a freak. That's all there is to say. And here's someone else pointing out a very weird series of events where apparently Iron Mouse tweeted this right here. Okay? And whether this was a reference to Charlie Kirk or just bad timing on her behalf, people attacked her. Because in their eyes, she seemingly gave some humanity to someone who was just assassinated. He wanted your rights taken away. Don't cry over him. What are we doing, man? And eventually she deleted the tweet.
Yeah.
Because people are that insane. Now we're going to talk about Ghost of Yote, which is a game that's already been mired in some controversy.
I'm not buying it. I don't think you should either. Yeah, boycott, potentially until, the people in it get fired. But to be perfectly honest, they were already a part of it. So I'm kind of like, you know what? If the people that were a part of this game are that crazy and ideologically obsessed, my guess is they're not putting 100% into the game, So my guess is this game's going to be not that great. I could be wrong, and the game might be okay, but I'll be honest, I I don't really care.
because people have labeled it as woke. Well, guess what? One of their developers is doing exactly what you would expect out of game devs in this current year.
Not good.
As pointed out here by Grums, a Sucker Punch senior developer has celebrated Charlie Kirk's death, saying, "I hope the shooter's name is Mario so that Luigi knows his bro got his back." And then reposting this, he died doing what he loved, being a transphobic, racist bigot.
Yeah.
I am sorry, I'm not buying your game. You know,
Nope.
sometimes you can say, like, separate the art from the artist. Nope.
Yeah, no.
Nope.
Well, so here's the thing. If the game was really awesome, sure. But if we're seeing all these signals that, like, the people that are involved in it are this, again, like, ideologically obsessed, this brainwashed, this crazy, then my guess is they're not doing a good job. They're not putting all of their, you know, time and attention and effort into the game.
You guys, like, listening to this video, you can buy Ghost of Yotei, fine. Whatever. I'm not going to judge you, but personally, nope. This is it.
Yeah.
And the fact that their company didn't immediately come out and condemn what
That
this
is also
person did
crazy.
shows me who you truly are.
That's true. You care more about that.
Not for me. Sorry. I was looking forward to your game.
Bad
Not
management.
anymore.
Yeah.
Done. It's really that easy. And this freak, this demon,
Just keep
will
going.
continue on saying, maybe instead of emailing people's employers, y'all should be emailing your reps and demand gun control immediately. And then they say, some of y'all have never heard of the critically acclaimed Mario Bros. Franchise by Nintendo and its shows. Of course, they're referring to the shooter who was named Luigi, and they're trying to make a joke, hoping the latest one was named Mario. I guess that's too much for us to understand, according to this person, right?
Yeah.
And they say, I've been told the Twitter has noticed me across the room.
Ugh.
You did get noticed, even on Blue Sky. And apparently, as pointed out here, likes are public on Blue Sky. And you can see the number of game devs liking this person's tweet, disparaging Charlie Kirk's death. People from Sucker Punch and other game devs as well.
Ugh.
It's so eye-opening, but it's not surprising.
Yeah.
Right? It's not that surprising. These people, this is how they act. It's almost predictable at this point that this will be their reaction to something like this. To be the most inhumane, disgusting human beings ever.
At least we know who they are, though.
Apparently, by the way, it got so bad.
That is the one thing you can also say about, you know, social media. It allows people to more accurately zero in on, like, the people that you should never trust with anything. You know, where you go like, oh, okay, like, this is you. Like, oh, okay, you're a psychopath. Like, yeah, like, you play really well in, like, real life. I don't get the creeps from you. You mask very well. But on Twitter, on X, on Blue Sky, you're a complete lunatic. Yeah, okay, you're good. You're out. You're done. You get, you know, walled off in Blue Sky, and then, you know, just get walled off in, like, you know, an asylum or something like that.
On Blue Sky, that they are issuing warnings to all their users saying you can't celebrate the assassination because it became that, I guess, celebrated across the entire platform.
They're going to get their, you know,
the
Blue Sky's
famous
sweating.
echo chamber had to say, whoa, hold on, guys.
Hang on, buddy.
You can't be doing that. Even Blue Sky
not good.
had to tell its own users to cut it out. And what happens? They're upset. Blue Sky users are upset because they can't celebrate the death of Charlie Kirk. They can't celebrate an act of political violence. You can see these freaks yelling at moderation because they can't celebrate this man's death.
Aww.
It's unreal. It's literally unreal. We live in clown world. This stuff has been tolerated for way too long. And I'm not surprised that these people are shocked they can't do stuff like this. Because for years, they've been allowed to do it all over the place, whether it's Blue Sky, Reddit, Twitter, what have you. Twitch. You can basically name every single major social media platform. They have been allowing this stuff for way too long. And again, look at these people, man. Like, I'm not even going to read this.
No.
This is in
Not
response to people saying you shouldn't celebrate the death. It's crazy. But it gets worse. Sean Chiplock, the English voice actor for Diluc in Genshin, and Subaru.
Dude, who, again, this is just perfect, absolutely fantastic evidence that you should never watch dubs. Only subs. Only watch subs. English voice actors suck. They're terrible. They're not very good at their job. And then also, they're all lunatics who probably hate you. If not today, tomorrow, certainly.
In ReZero, he posted this.
Yeah, no, we're done, bud.
I hope they receive all the same care the average American citizen would get in that same situation. Awesome, dude. Thank you for sharing how much of an evil person you are. You know what? No, I'm glad some of these people, they go mask off, because this is someone I've defended in the past who's been attacked by psychopathic fans of related series he's worked on. But no, you have no empathy.
No dubs, only subs, baby.
And I'm glad
that's what you need.
That you're letting everyone know just how much of an evil person you are. And you know what? Chibi Reviews right here, he's right. You should tag Crunchyroll. You should. Why would you want this person working for you? It's a genuine question.
This is nice. I mean, it is crazy to think about it, but this is like a legitimate kind of bellwether moment of like, okay, how do you think about this? And how you think about this really does actually kind of determine, are you a good person or a bad person? Are you good or evil? Are you human or not? And the fact that this is all being documented through the internet perhaps will do an enormous amount of societal good in the long run. I think so.
I'm telling you, when people want to show you who they truly are, listen.
Let them.
Apparently, though, there's some justice in the world, and I've heard many reports of people losing their jobs over tweets about Charlie Kirk, and good. You deserve it. Period. Grums here says DC Comics has fired this employee and terminated their comic book. I'm okay with this. No tolerance for death cults. They did to us.
So you're supporting the cancellation of this guy for his opinion? At this point, yeah. The rules are the way they are, so I'm gonna apply them equally. So yeah, I'd like it. I'd prefer it if everybody could say whatever they wanted, and there would be no, bad things happening to you for saying whatever you want. But that's not the way we are structuring society. So if the rules are that, you can get canceled for your opinion and it was only applied to some people, then then everybody gets it now. Yeah.
Always took the higher ground. So they said this: thoughts and prayers, you Nazi bitch. You deserve to lose your job. Yep. 100%. Totally deserved. And people are losing their jobs over this. And you know what? People like this, they literally cannot help themselves. I'm telling you, it's impulsive. They cannot help themselves. So I'm glad they're outing themselves and they're being punished as a result. And then we have stuff like this. TikTok.
This looks bad.
This person on a megaphone saying we got Charlie in the neck. And honestly, here's some more TikTok. Just to give you a taste of how bad it is over there.
I have great news. Things are looking up for the American people. Not Charlie Kirk, for obvious reasons, but other things are looking up.
Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not
wait,
good.
but we didn't forget about Reddit. This person saying to the tune of 800 likes, "Do him next, please," referring to Asmongold. 800 likes. Post not reported. That's how it is over there. And, well, you look around the scene, right? And you see people like Hassan Piker with his crocodile tears.
Yeah, let's hear it.
This was his reaction to the shooting. And he's acting like, oh, this is so bad. I don't even have time for this guy today. He is another video, okay? I cannot believe this hypocrite who's been advocating for political violence for years, now pretending like he's shocked something like this would happen.
I think he kind of is perhaps aware that, you know, if this is the place that you've gotten to, if you've raised the temperature to this level, then, you know, if political violence is happening and there's, you know, people celebrating it, then, you know, it's not only going to be applied in one direction. And he knows he's got, you know, again, definitely don't want it to happen, for sure, legitimately. But yeah, my guess is he's a little bit like, you know, he's afraid now. He's like, oh, I screwed up, pushed it too far.
No, dude, not you. You don't get to talk on this. You are disgusting. And I will talk about this another day, but I do not have time for this disgusting hypocrite. I am so tired of this man and his violent rhetoric. And now he gets to play the guy crying on stream. No, not you, man, not you. At least your villain, Ethan Klein, showed real emotion. This is a guy. Understand, Ethan Klein is a hardcore leftist.
Yeah.
And when he discovered the news on his podcast, he was sobbing. And I believe his tears. I don't believe Hassan Piker's crocodile tears. Only one person in this situation has been advocating for political violence for years.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous, man. And then we got this loser, Dean Withers.
This guy.
You know, this is the guy who famously crashed out because someone called his vape pen a vape pen, and he said it's for his anxiety, whatever. This guy, who initially came out and said his condolences for Charlie Kirk.
Okay.
Then came around and made this video, basically saying, "Oh well, he's a horrible human being, but he shouldn't have been assassinated because this guy is so audience captured. He can't even say political violence is wrong without trying to label someone as a bad person in the hours after his death."
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk is dead. He got shot at an event that he was hosting in Utah. And I am sad, distraught. In fact, I just cried on my live stream in front of 250,000 people. My goal in this video
please tell me how many viewers you got. I'm glad you dropped that in.
is to tell you why I feel this way. If you want to end gun violence, it is something that you can never celebrate. It is always disgusting, always vile, and always abhorrent. It should come as no shock to yourself when I tell you that I think Charlie Kirk was a bad person. I've made that very clear over the last year, but does that mean I think he deserves to lose his life? No. Does that mean I think his 2 young children who were in attendance at the event where he was shot deserve to watch their father die? No. Does that mean I think they deserve to grow up without him? No. Does that mean I think that his wife, who was also there, deserved to lose her husband? No.
Oh, look, and some more Reddit.
Again, you'd go, these people are at least a little bit better. At least a little bit better. They are aware that, you know, it's not good business. It's not good society. It's not a good look to be, you know, celebrating this stuff. But the fact that he was like, this is bad, and then like backtracks, you'd go, okay, you know, that's not great.
As you can see, pointed out here by Legal Mindset, this person makes a post saying Charlie Kirk is dead with a celebration related video here with 6,700 upvotes. And some mod says, stop reporting this, it's staying up unless Reddit takes it down, but it doesn't violate our rules at all. F
Oof.
this fascist a-hole.
Mm.
And I'm not surprised. This stuff has been going on for years.
Mm-hmm.
For years. Completely unchecked or even celebrated. None of this should surprise anyone. Like I said, it's an unfortunate reality. But these people, they don't want to coexist with you. They want the worst for you. And they will celebrate when it happens.
Yeah.
And that's what's been going on today.
And I mean, I'm sure people have said that before, but now it's very clear.
I'm sorry. I know I'm a little angry.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is. How else am I supposed to feel about something like this? It's horrible. This whole thing is horrible. And the reaction on social media, it's radicalizing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is going to radicalize people. I don't know. That's it. That's all I got for today.
Yep. Now, is he right that it's going to radicalize people? Definitely people are going to, at the very least, say, okay, you know what, this side, there's a clear side that has the moral authority. Clearly, the person who, is the victim of this political violence, they have the political and moral authority now. That's how it's always worked out in history. And my guess is, I shouldn't even say my guess, that's how it's going to go forward. I haven't seen, we haven't seen giant, huge riots coming out after this. So I think, the right conservatism or, MAGA populism, whatever you're going to call it, are going to recruit more people for sure. And, they are going to retain the moral authority. They're going to say, look, this is what the other side is doing to the people that are, just talking about stuff. All right. You've basically given over the argument to that side. There's no longer any ability to pretend that the reason you want certain political outcomes for people is because you are the compassionate people. It's not. It doesn't exist anymore. It's not there. And so this is 1969. So when was Martin Luther King? MLK killed. 1968. So, as I said, I feel like that is the most apt analogy. That is the most analogous sort of political killing to Charlie Kirk. Is the death of Martin Luther King. And this is coming on directly after that. And it does feel like we're in a similar spot where people are so sort of fractured, tribalized, these things. And I do think that there's a real legitimate possibility that, Charlie Kirk's death is going to reinvigorate a feeling of like, you know what, we have a moral center and we can rally around that, and we can disagree on certain political aspects and these things, but you know what, we can retain this civilizational ideal. Important part, that's the part where, again, I mean, this is 1969. So this would have been filmed in 1967, 1968, maybe a little bit in 1960. I don't think 1969, but essentially this would have been filmed around the time that MLK was like assassinated. And, you know, you would have the same kind of cultural, societal, civilizational fractures, the same pressures that are, I would say, you know, acting on us now. You know, where we have this sort of super tribalized society, certainly in the US, and I mean, you know, I would say just in the Western world in general, we've got that going. And the things that kind of help us recover from it and give us more energy, give us more impetus, give us, you know, a drive to create new things and these things, they're not necessarily good. You know, they're not necessarily comfortable acts. Some of the it's disgusting that we think of this now as like The Last Jedi, right? The Last Jedi, or whatever the hell the second one was called, the Rian Johnson Star Wars movie. We think of that more than, like, you know, 400 years of, you know, Christianity surviving in the most remote, harsh place possible. What is it? And like we think of like green milk.
Of course, there was a pope in the ruined, beleaguered city of Rome. But the Celtic Church owed
like Chinese. They look like let's see, chillin'. Yeah, like look at this. Like this is the Qing era depiction. Look at these things. Doesn't that look exactly like that? Doesn't that look exactly like that animal? Looks exactly like it. It's crazy. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, like, just again, like the sort of like it's so striking the way in which they've like made these things. And you can clearly tell that like this is the kind of stuff that like people look at in art today and they're like, oh, this is cool. This is kind of like the thing that we want to get back to. We want that kind of ones. It looks like a little bit more narrow. And then let's see. It's like a little bit more narrow, and then it's also got like the prow looks a little bit like higher, goes up a little bit further.
And
so it's probably a little bit more top heavy.
Contribute something very important to the Western world, because in the end it was the spirit of Columbus.
And that's kind of where we're at, right? Again, I mean, I keep trying to bring it back because I think this is like a good look back. This is like an echo of a very similar time in history. You know, like when he's talking about this stuff, it's through the lens of a 1967, 68 brain, mind, output perspective. And therefore, you know, he's looking at that, you know, he's looking at this sort of bad stuff in history and in the tides of history. And he's looking at them and he goes, okay, these are uncomfortable periods, but they're...
Ravenna. I am in the church of San Vitale at Ravenna.
San Vitale Church of San Vitale at Ravenna. Is that for real? Basilica of San Vitale. Yeah, it is in Italy. So then what's up? So then this must be something else. Because what's with the, in like, oh, okay, so the Byzantine art. Am I crazy to say, why are there, like, maybe I'm not thinking of, maybe it was the other one. Super late. It's insanely late. It's literally like, it's like the oldest Christian symbol out there. But in terms of it being an object of like worship, it's super new. It's the oldest symbol for Christianity, but it's literally like was used to mock Christianity and Christians for like hundreds, like 1,000+ years. It's crazy. Doink. Next one. Oh. Personal View by Kenneth Clark. Civilization. And he essentially like invents the whole personal view documentary thing by the BBC, which is pretty cool. Because there's like another one. He does the same thing, but I forget what it's called. I don't think it's Civilization. It's like science or history or some stuff like that. And it's the same thing. It's like a personal view, but it's got a different, perspective. It is more along the lines of a what would we call it? I think it's more of like a history via like science and discovering these things, as opposed to art being the great medium through which you're examining all of these historical periods and things. Okay, so we can watch more of this. That was actually the only one that I wanted to watch. And to be perfectly honest, I only really wanted to watch like the first 10 minutes of it. So I'm glad we got through it. It's really cool. I really do like it. I don't want to go too much further with it. We get into this one, the historian Tom Holland, Islam, Christianity in the West. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think we're going to save that one for next time. And yeah, I mean, we did what we wanted to do today, which was talk about the Charlie Kirk stuff. Just, again, I want to say, the first thing that comes to my mind every time I say it is, we talked about the Charlie Kirk stuff. Crazy, right? And it's like, well, no, it's not. It's not crazy. It seems like it shouldn't have happened. It seems like it couldn't happen. But that's just because of the, obfuscation that you're putting on your own self. It's if anything, you'd go, it's the opposite of crazy. It's totally expected. You would have expected this to have happened, earlier. And in fact, of course, it did happen earlier. I mean, they tried to kill Trump twice, if not more times actually, but like twice that, we're kind of aware of. And it is crazy. So if, eventually, if that was the place we were living in, then of course it's going to happen eventually. Somebody's going to get hit. So let's see. So with that, I think we could do one other thing, but you know what? I'm going to keep this stream on theme. So I'll just end it earlier. I'll say thank you very much for your time and attention.